3, 2, 1. We're live. Good morning, my friends. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. It doesn't matter. I got important news for you. So here we go. We're going to jump right into this. The Fifth Chinese National Congress has just ended, and the president removed his enemies. Right? This is what this comes down to. It's like gang shit. They're basically on some gang shit. He removed the leader of the opposite faction, right? And this is even a dude who's in his own party. So this wouldn't even be like, this ain't like Biden going after Trump, okay? This is like Biden going after, you know what I mean, Kamala, or so, not even that. I shouldn't say Kamala, but like a Democratic senator or something like that, like. Just a random Democratic senator, somebody who's on his team but doesn't agree with him all the way, right? Well, these factions have been fighting for a long time, right? Hu Jintao is the former president, and this is the man that was removed. At the end of the Congress, whenever everything was commencing, they pulled up on homie, like the security guards pulled up on him, and they were like, "Oh, bro, you gotta go," and he was like, "What?" And he starts grabbing his homies. He was like, "Hey, what?" Or he like puts his hand on Xi Jinping's shoulder, on the president. Excuse me. On the president's shoulder and says, "Hey, man," you know what I mean? And she's like, "Oh yeah, you know how Chinese are? They're very polite. Oh yeah, you know." And homie's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" Right? So here we're gonna go to the news real quick so we can get an actual source for all of this. Here's the BBC reporting. All right. Hu Jintao, the mysterious exit of China's former leader from Party Congress. Right, and yeah, and you can see him. He's trying to like grab onto people as they're leading him out. From the BBC, Stephen McDonnell reporting. Footage of China's former leader, Hu Jintao, being asked to leave the stage at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing during the Communist Party Congress is drawing global attention as people try to work out what has just happened. There are a lot of questions and no answers so far from the Chinese government. Well, if you want an answer, I'm going to tell you where you can find an answer, because I kind of know the answer, but I know it from a couple people. I know it from China Uncensored, Chris Chappell, and Shelley, right? I know, so China Uncensored, these are YouTube channels. Lao Y86, white boy who lived in China for like a decade, married a Chinese woman, all that good stuff, made all kinds of videos and everything. Like so much information about China can be gleaned from the YouTube channel Lao Y86. So anything that I talk about here, it's either coming from Chris Chappell, Lao Y86, or Serpent Zay, which is also another YouTube channel. I'm sorry, a lot of the information overlaps, so I don't want to attribute anything to the wrong people, but I've learned a lot from all three of these YouTube channels, and if you want to know about China, I've wanted to know for a while. I've been writing about it since like 2016. I've been writing about the human rights abuses in Xinjiang, the proof of the human rights abuses. I'm not going to go into all that. We're not going to talk about all that. Another day. Right now, we're going to talk about China. We're going to talk about Xi Jinping removing his enemies, because that's what's just happened. He's consolidated power, and he's removing his enemies. Right? He's setting the stage. They call him presentator for life, right? They're setting the stage for this man to be, he's going to be ruler forever. And he's got some serious people behind him, and he's weaponizing the state. And we should be scared about that. Because think about what's going on in the United States right now. Think about how they're weaponizing the FBI, right? Against whoever. You know who the FBI has been going after. We both know, right? Drink to that. So, now, this dude has just secured his place at the top of the Chinese hierarchy. He has, the other dude was pretty powerful, right? He's got a gang behind him, like he's got regions. Hu Jintao has regions, right? He's almost like a regional warlord, if you will. He's not really a warlord. That's not a good, they're more civilized than that. You know what I mean? China's more civilized than that. So, that wouldn't be a good description, but Homeboy has like a stronghold part of the country that is not really a fan of Xi Jinping, but all of this exists within the same party. Okay, so what has happened is China has painted itself into a corner with the zero COVID policy. It's like any COVID at all, we shut the whole situation down. That's it. Nobody goes anywhere. Excuse me real quick. I got to sneeze. They put out a statement. The Chinese Communist Party puts out a statement. They say, oh, poor Hu, he was sick. That's going to be their is that, oh, he was sick, and we have a zero COVID strategy. Well, this zero COVID strategy is shutting down all kinds of stuff across the country. It's shutting down commerce. It's shutting down the ability to like produce stuff. What is it? Like industries, that's what it's called. It's shutting down industries and like factories and shipping ports and all kinds of stuff. It's shutting everything down. This is going to have a ripple effect. Remember how much stuff comes from China? Right? All this stuff that comes from China? Well, China's in the middle of a collapse. Seriously, China is in the middle of collapsing, and this guy's going, fuck it. If it's going to collapse, I'm going to be the biggest warlord. I'm going to be the biggest gangster on the block. So Xi Jinping's going for it. He's putting his dick on the table. Let's go. Make it happen. So the Chinese housing market is in the middle of collapsing, right? Inflation spiking. They're losing control of the country, and so they're cracking down even harder. People were hoping to hear that they were going to release some of the COVID restrictions, and then maybe this would release some of the relieve some pressure on the supply chain issues. That is not what we heard. We heard they're going zero COVID, and remember that whenever these assholes out here try to fucking shut down our schools or whatever else, that if they get their way, they'll do like what's happening in China. They'll do it in a second. These scary motherfuckers they're scared of everything. Look what they're doing in China, right? So they're ruining their country. They're ruining all the progress they've made in the last 20 years. Now, a lot of it was bullshit progress. A lot of it was built on a house of sand, or what does it say? A foundation of sand, I would say. So I get that, but they're about to collapse. China is about to collapse. A severe recession. China is about to go into a severe recession. And I kind of hope that we see some I don't know. It'd be nice to see a political change. It wouldn't surprise me if there's political unrest. But I would like to see a political change in China. But I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if Hu Jintao was going to be the best person to go up against him anyway. Hu Jintao was old as shit. So, here we go. Let's keep going. National Congress. 20th National Congress. I think you called it the 5th earlier. It's the 20th National Congress. Okay. Now, if anybody's happened to notice Joe Biden lately, he's still up to his old tricks, just mumbling randomly, right? So, Ian Miller. Here's from Ian Miller at Outkick. Joe Biden at it again, mumbles incoherently in response to questions from reporter. I watched the video yesterday. They asked him an actual question. There was the question was there's been some senators and Congress people, some people in Congress that don't want to fuck with you. They said they don't want your endorsement. They don't want to be associated with you. And then if you want to hear his response, his actual response, I put a short out of it yesterday, and it's not coherent. That's all you really say about that. So he continues, the president continues to devolve while the world devolves into chaos. Let's see. He also fell asleep, it seems like, the other day. You know, you watch this one, if you just go on YouTube and look up Joe Biden falls asleep mid-sentence or something like that, mid-question, mid-sentence or something, and you'll see and they have to edit it. You can see they put an edit in, so who knows how long he actually fell asleep for. But they try to make it look like he didn't fell asleep, but he's all frozen, and then he kind of breaks out of it a little bit. It's not even a good editing job. They could have done better than that. Could have just cut the fucking part out. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, that's the majority of the news for the day that I'm going to talk about today. I mean, it's not the majority of the news because there's, let's see, Justice Department to hold emergency, what? God damn it. Conference on criminal activity. by a foreign state. I think this watch is broken. It's a fucking 7 too. It's an Apple Watch 7, and it just turns its fucking self on. It turns itself on and starts listening. It's probably Apple. Motherfuckers. They know everything about me. Anyway, they probably know when. I think there's a camera on this bitch too. They probably know whenever you're handling business. Anyway, that's the news for the day. Super tight, super quick. Hu Jintao removed. Homie consolidates his power, but to be honest, China's in the middle of collapse. Lao Y86. You need to find Lao Y86 if you want to know about China. You need to find Lao Y86. You need to find Shelly and Chris Chappell over at China Uncensored on YouTube, and Serpentize. I'm not going to try to spell that for you, but if you find Lao Y86, you'll find Serpentize. Later.